Even if you're in the US, you can still order from Amazon Japan. Check them out in the links in the description and get your vinyl figures. Kaiju, turtles, Dragon Ball, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Showatch! Collectors, hello. Steven here. Change up the intro a little bit. Why? Because today I am bringing you what is monumental for the movie Monster Series lineup. Ultraman has joined. Finally, we have Godzilla and Ultraman under one roof. And it's not just Ultraman. No. We have Kaiju as well. Welcome to my review of the movie Monster Series, Shin Ultraman, Neronga, and Gabora. Yep, we got 3 vinyl figures here for the review because it's going to be short, sweet, to the point. We're going to hit it. We're going to get on out. So, Shin Ultraman, unfortunately, has been delayed for this summer, but that doesn't mean that the merchandise is not going to hit at a nice, steady pace. And with that being said, these vinyl figures are actually kind of ebbing and flowing. What's that mean? Sometimes they're really hot and they're going for a lot of money. Other times they're cooling off once there is some supply. So, do you buy them when they are very high price, or do you maybe chill and wait until you get a cool one, huh? Yeah, that's kind of what I say at the end of every video. So let's stop there and take a look to see whether or not these guys are worth adding into your collection.
Well, shit.
Come on, boot and click. I was wondering why that. I think Dave.
We'll start off with Ultraman, and whatever you are able to see here throughout this video, do not let it deceive you. Ultraman is nigh impossible to stand with that tag attached. You will need a support stand. So if you are someone who loves to keep the tags on your figures, you will need to get a support stand. Thankfully, I have videos to help you out. So yeah, but otherwise, looking at the details for Ultraman, he's pretty, I mean, not a whole lot of detail there in terms of it being a complicated release. I mean, kind of short, sweet, and to the point, not really a whole lot going on. We don't have the color timer. The red is more so a maroon. We do have that silver paint application. The eyes, I do think they could have been executed just a little nicer, but generally speaking, there really isn't a whole lot going on here. Ultraman is pretty straightforward with not a whole lot of complications. The quality control is pretty fair for the price point. Keep in mind that this one's actually going to be on the cheaper end. It's going to be less than $20 in MSRP. I think it's actually going to be intended to be around $17, which is rather fine. Now, a unique aspect is that this Ultraman is going to have those elf boots. And speaking of pose, it's going to be that infamous pose of him standing by the lake. So generally, it's kind of there. It's a vanilla Ultraman figure. If you just need one for one of your little ones, or I don't know, you're not a huge fan of the character, but you want a representation, hey, this one just looks fine. Now, here's another reason why I decided to do all of these figures together. Neronga and Gabora are pretty much the same, with just a couple of minor differences being the unique parts. So you're seeing the 360 spin view of Neronga right now, which there are a couple of drawbacks here that I'm a little bit disappointed on. Yeah, that's pretty sad. That being is that Neronga's going to have those little ear antennae sort of thingamajigs that don't quite look like ears, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Those are actually going to be connected to the body on a big, thick piece of vinyl, which doesn't really look all that great. If you're not really familiar with the source material, you're not going to think too much of it. As a matter of fact, you may not even bat an eye. But when you're looking up close and personal at those details, then things will start to stick out at you. And then when you are looking up close and personal, kind of like those pictures that I'm showing you here, you will start to notice that unfortunately the quality control specifically for this unit of Neronga, there are a couple of issues. We do have some overspray that's going to be found. We actually do have some globby paint on the left side of Neronga, specifically around by the legs. The upper thigh, the hip area, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Now, the back details, those are sculpted phenomenally, and good job there. And then we do have sort of, almost in a way, same as Shin Godzilla on the neck. We do have some meaty fibery thing going on. I don't quite know what that is going to be in the movie. Is that going to be sort of like a gill thing, or is that just a design thing? Who knows? I'm sure we'll see upon the movie's release. So overall, Neronga has a whole bunch of smaller details that are found in the sculpt, which looks fantastic, but I don't necessarily think that the paint is quite up to the same level. Now, we do have Gabora here coming up, and I always feel like I'm going to be saying Gamora or even Gabora here, and I'm not, even though I know that I'm not. And Gabora here, I do have to say, actually is much, much nicer than Neronga in some ways. One of those ways being that for the head sculpt, we are going to have a whole bunch of unique details, and it's actually pretty impressive there. And then when it comes to the actual paint application of the figure, it's going to be pretty straightforward and basic. We do have the unique paint apps for the claws to really make them look bony and like Gabora is coming after you. And then with that sort of white-ish vinyl, we do have brown spray to help enhance some of those details. Likewise, we do have a bronze paint application on the back of Gabora going from the shoulders all the way down to the tip of the tail, which is executed wonderfully. Now, I've made mention that I wanted to pair these two figures together because they look so similar. That's right, they're using the same body except for the unique parts of each figure. So the chest is pretty much going to be the same. The lower portion of the torso is going to be the same. Legs, arms, they're pretty much going to be one for one the same. But then we do have the differences, such as in the head sculpt, the tail, the back, so on and so forth, for each of their own unique needs. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the tags here, where I'm just going to go ahead and talk over them. They're pretty simple, not a whole lot to write home about, except for when it comes to the kaiju, we sort of just have 3D CGI, whatever buzzword you'd like to use, renders of the kaiju instead of sort of like an action shot, which, I mean, take it or leave it. It is kind of your thing, whether you like that, you hate it, or maybe, you know, you don't care one way or another. Because it is Ultraman here, it's going to be a CGI Ultraman movie. It is what it is. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and move right on over to the articulation section, where we will be able to see that we have the basic movement, nothing too impressive, pretty straightforward for everyone. Though, as a matter of fact, Gabora has a couple of small things hidden there with some of the swivels in the head or the neck, whatever you want to call that region. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Now, size comparison for you, so this way you can see exactly how big these guys are going to be. And yeah, the kaiju about a foot long, I would say. Good. Ultraman, yeah, 6-inch scale. You don't really have to make too much room on your shelf, but just keep in mind, those are some long tails. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. The kaiju, those can go for about $30 or so. And again, Ultraman, you can ballpark it at about 20. So altogether, you can maybe look at spending, I don't know, maybe about $100 shipped. And yeah. I mean, I know if you do the math, that comes out to, what is that, about 80? But yeah, $100 shipped, that's not too bad. Actually, right now, I'm on Amazon Japan as I'm recording this, and you can get Neronga for $40 shipped. So just something to keep in mind. Overall, these are great entries, first entries for Ultraman in the movie Monster Series lineup, and depending on what comes out of Shin Ultraman, hopefully we will see more. The only things I would like to see improved for these releases is just that Bandai, hey, give us some better paint apps and give us some more. I think we would all really like that. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.